Hi viewers, if you follow my blog, you'll know I started a new book series. So I've talked about books I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading Angela Davis. But because I typically read like non-fiction brain down stories, like in some ways that kind of stuff is inspiring to learn, to know that there are other people out there and stuff like that. But if you're like reading about war, it kind of dampens your spirit. So for that reason, I've started reading kids' books. Another one being that I'm going to be an aunt for the first time in a month or two. So fortunately, my brother seems to be interested in Filipino-ness. Since fortunately they have that interest, I've decided to search out for Filipino kids books because I didn't have them when I was younger. It's not like as a 5 or 8-year-old I was like demanding Filipino in every show or book that I read. But because there's that lack, I think that people are looking for it everywhere, and so that whenever there's like a racially ambiguous person, we look it up, we know who is what. And because there's that lack, we tend to project our hopes and expectations upon that person, which is not fair, which is not particularly empowering, I think, because a lot of these people are privileged and don't do shit. Let's be real. They grin and tap dance and don't say anything particularly controversial or challenging to the systems that get them rich and privileged, and do nothing for their quote-unquote people that look up so much to them. So that's the kind of double-edged sword I've called representation. Obviously, it's better to have it, but like during that, the first people getting in, I think there can be a lot of expectations put upon those people, including that they're going to be the token, essentially. And it's kind of racist or sexist, depending on whatever characteristic demographic we're talking about, to expect that one person is going to speak for everyone, because obviously we're not all one thing. We have a bunch of other labels. We're made up of not just our race, but our gender, our sexuality, and class, whether we're able-bodied. When there is that lack, you can become desperate. And I think in other situations, people can take advantage of that. Like, let's say if you're sick, in the US at least, and you don't have any choice but like one medical thing, one insurer, they can freaking charge you as much as they want. They can bleed you to literally to death. But in this case, not only are you desperate to learn about your own people and have that connection with others, have that community maybe, it can be quite depressing when there's nothing inspiring or empowering, when it's written by other people, when there's like this one-dimensional kind of characterization of your people, and you just kind of feel like you have no other choice to be. You're like doomed to, you're an outcast if you don't fit into that. You like don't even fit in with your family. So that's another intentional manipulation, I think, that representation is kind of a part of. Like, it's not the complete answer, but it's like Obamacare. It's not the complete answer, but I guess it should be supported to usher in like a fuller range of care or something, a bigger solution. Like, who benefits from not having others at the table? The people, the higher ups. The people who benefit from the status quo. While there might be a few advances in representation, as I said, people aren't a monolith. You still need to examine and be critical of those let in and who and what they're actually speaking for, because they're not automatically inherently going to be speaking for the best wishes of identities that they just happen to have. So this is why I'm not just like buying the first book I see and shipping it over to the prospective parents and baby. I'm actually going to get as many as I can get my hands on, read them, make sure that they have good lessons and values, and write about them on my blog and here, I guess now, and then ship them over. I've already actually written one post, so this video is going to be about the second batch of books I've read. Maybe I'll retroactively make a video and check them back out from the library or figure out how to insert pictures. This will probably be like my unboxing videos so far, in that I don't really have scripts. I'm just gonna give a summary, and we'll probably have more detailed and information on my blog. I feel like I should incorporate my other social media with each other. So how could I do that with Instagram? Like post the bloopers on Instagram? Would that draw y'all to this channel? Okay, so the first book in this batch is, maybe this vlogging thing wasn't a good idea because I'm not really sure how to say Abadeha, the Philippine Cinderella. This is by, or adapted by, Myrna J. de La Paz and illustrated by Yushan Tang. Published in 2001, the publisher Shen's Books. Pre-colonial setting, so I absolutely love these illustrations and like the costumes, I guess. I don't know if you really call it costumes, if they're like drawn. I don't know. I don't know if this is like a common story or if De La Paz just kind of adapted it from Cinderella. But I like that it's not like exactly the same. Like Abadeha doesn't leave behind a slipper at a bog. And they have like datus and babaylans. So you could probably be critical of it being an original or not that particularly inspiring, and like being an old story of like girl meets boy, blah blah blah. But you know, whatever. That's my rating. It's like, I just like the illustrations. Maybe if you get it at a yard sale or something, it's not terrible. This is going well. Okay, the next one is Lakas and the Manilatown Fish by Anthony D. Robles, illustrated by Carl Angel. This one claims to be the first bilingual English-Tagalog story set in the US. And it's about this little boy, Lakas, who meets this magical talking fish. And they go throughout Manilatown in San Francisco and see the different sights and stuff. This says that a story that Robles told his own kid, and that's kind of how it seems. They just go through the town. It doesn't really seem like there's a life lesson. There's a note about Manilatown and like the International Hotel demonstration at the back, which I found more interesting. But you know, like I'm an adult and I can see how people might want to introduce that story to kids. And it is very brightly and interestingly formatted. The pictures are bright and like the fonts get bigger and bolder. But I would say just wait until the kids are older and get a non-fiction book. But again, like maybe you want to get them young or something. But the fish also kind of like goes throughout town kissing people and stealing an old man's clothes. So I don't know if that's the lesson you want to be teaching your kids either. The last one in this batch is An Eagle's Feather by Minfong Ho. Hope I'm saying that right, no disrespect. Illustrated by Frances Alvarez. Apparently this is based on a story by the Philippine Eagle Foundation. I love this book. Like, I really wasn't expecting to. Just like, oh, an eagle. He lives in the forest. But like, I was actually crying about it. It teaches a good lesson about conservation and all that. Not being a jerk ass that chops down trees and shoots eagles. Obviously not like a cardboard book or an ABC book, so probably more for like around grade 3. What age is that? Maybe like 8? This is in English. They're actually all in English. The Lakas is in English and Tagalog. I'd say they're probably around all the same age level. They're not exactly chapter books and obviously not ABC books. So that kind of in the middle reading level. If you have any title suggestions or anything, let me know in the comments or social media. Subscribe to this channel for more book reviews and follow my blog to get more information about these books. Other adult books. Adult in that they're complicated and sad, not horny. Oh, I also still have to do a General Luna video. Somebody remind me to do that. Thanks for watching. Bye.